Hi, this is Marilyn Price from the Mentor Project. And Mrs. Goose, you want to say hi to everyone? Hmm. That means hi there. Mrs. Goose and I are going to tell you another goose story of her up and coming series called Goose on the Loose, or perchance Goose Tales. We haven't figured it out. Do you have a preference, Mrs. Goose? Which one do you like? Tell me. Oh, she likes goose tails. Okay, do you have one? Oh, she does. She has a goose tail. Fantastic. Well, why don't you go backstage or downstage and get ready for our story? Do you have something to ask me? Why am I wearing a hat? It's part of the story. You want to tell them what color it is in case they haven't tuned in yet? Mm-hmm. Red. I like red. Goes really well with my friend Red Goose here. Okay, so you go down there. Oh, excellent. This is a very well-known story, but we're going to tell it just a tad different. And there are three characters in our story. 1, 2, 3. The first character you've met, Mrs. Goose. That's you, yes, we know. And then there's me. I'm playing the part of Grandma. And because of the costuming, you'll know that me, and the goose are related because we're both wearing red. So red, by the way, is a welcoming color. So if you go by a house and there's a red door, that's a sign of welcoming. Mm-hmm. That's just a little bit of tidbit we are offering you at the Mentor Project, where we offer so many great things. And let's see. Oh, and the other character is traditionally a wolf, but I got to change it up a little bit and do another character that also lives in the woods. And you'll know why when you see the story start. So we're going to start with a traditional greeting that says, what's that? You know it? You want to say it with me? Okay. It's 4 words. Once upon a time, there was a grandma who lived at one edge of the dark but not very scary woods most of the time. And grandma had a granddaughter named Mrs. Goose. Mm-hmm. And one day, grandma wanted her granddaughter, Mrs. Goose, to bring her just a little something. Maybe she thought she could read her a book, or they could do a story together if they had a book that they could have. So the best way to get a hold of Mrs. Goose was to call her on the phone. So she picked up her handy dandy, ever present princess phone and called. Beep, 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 beep. The phone rang. Mrs. Goose answered. Oh, hi, honey. It's Grandma. You know, because you have caller ID. Awesome job. I was wondering if you're not busy. I have a bit of a cold. Not contagious, of course. No, it's allergies. I was wondering if you could bring me a book. Which one? I was hoping for that book on making puppets. You have one? Oh, awesome. And the materials? Oh, I have the materials? You know that? You looked in my craft box. Okay, cool beans. All right, tell you what. You take care, but be careful. I heard there is a fox wandering around in the woods. So look both ways before you come here. And up and down, too, okay? Love ya. Love you, me too. Thanks, honey. Bye. Grandma hung up the phone and took out her favorite blankie and decided to take a snooze while waiting for her granddaughter, Mrs. Goose. So Mrs. Goose went through her library of books and found this cute little book on making puppets. It's still a cute little book. And she put it, well, just trouble carrying things. She put it under her wing and headed off to Grandma's. Now, Grandma was having a nice snooze. She put the hat over her face so she could block out the light, and that was good. And while she was snoozing, unbeknownst to her and to Mrs. Goose, was the fox who lived in the woods. Now, the fox liked to pretend that he was a very, very kind and gentle fox, but he did kind of like to get in trouble. And so our story goes, as the fox was walking through the woods, and as the goose was walking through the woods, they almost ran right into each other. Oh, hi. I'm the friendly neighborhood fox. Yes, I do live in your neighborhood. Why have you never met me before? I don't know. Do you come this way often? whenever you go to Grandma's house? You're going to Grandma's house? Does Grandma make cookies? She makes the best cookies ever. Ooh, that's so cool. Well, maybe I could go. You want to go alone? But my grandma's not doesn't live in this neighborhood, and I would love to have some cookies. Grandma told you to be careful of me? Oh, I'm a really nice fox. I haven't had anything to eat in quite a while. That's why Grandma said to be careful of me? All right. Well, now, where does Grandma live? You think she lives that way? I'm not so sure. I was just that way and I didn't see anybody that looked like a grandma. Do I think you're going the wrong way? Oh, I think you are going the wrong way. I think you should go that way. That way. Well, so she did. Carrying the book underneath her wing, off she went to Grandma's house, or so she thought. In the meantime, the fox knew exactly where Grandma lived because he just passed her house and he smelled cookies and a little bit of chicken soup, probably to cure her cold. I'm gonna have them both. Oh, so delicious. So the fox went sneakily, stealthily, well, carefully, on the way to Grandma's house. And when he got there, he knocked on the door, a very polite fox, and a voice came from the bedroom. Who is it? Well, it's me, your friendly granddaughter, Mrs. Goose. Really? You expect me to believe that's my granddaughter, Mrs. Goose, when she only speaks in honk? Oh, yes, sorry, I acquired a voice on the way here. Honk, honk. Oh, that's more like it. A little lower pitch. Do you have a cold, dear? Honk, 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 honk. You do have a cold. Oh, poor granddaughter. Well, come in, come in. Well, the fox went carefully in first. He opened the door. In there, he saw the cookies piled up on the table. So good, those cookies. Oh, and soup smells so good. I can hardly wait to eat it. And there in the bed, oh, hiding under her covers, was Grandma with her beautiful hat, all covered up. Oh, when the fox saw that Grandma was covered up with her red hat, he could hardly contain his excitement because, after all, he had a red hat too. And so the fox and Grandma had a long conversation because she recognized right away that this was not Mrs. Goose, her granddaughter. So she said, "Now, Fox, 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 what do you like with your cookies?" And he said, "Well, I like milk." "Well, Fox," she said, "I am going to get you some milk." And off she went to the store, feeling much better because grandmas like to have a purpose. But while she was gone, the fox slipped into her bed and covered himself up with her blanket so all you could see was his red hat. Good grief, what was to become of Mrs. Goose? I am so glad you asked because Mrs. Goose was carefully walking down. She could no longer carry the book underneath her wings, so she was holding it carefully in her beak. But she wasn't worried. When she got to the house, she knocked on the door. Oh, he who thought he could impersonate Grandma said, "Who's there? I mean, who's there?" Mrs. Goose said, "I can't hear you. Do you have something in your mouth, dear? Oh, put down the book." Well, Mrs. Goose put down the book. "Oh, it's you, dear. Well, come on in. I have a bit of a sore throat, and that's why my voice is so sore." Well, in the meantime, you know, of course, what had happened. Grandma was out getting milk for the fox, and of course, the fox had slipped into her bed. But Little Red Riding Goose couldn't see that. All she saw was the top of her head, and she said, "Grandma, is that you?" "Of course it's me." Why are you hiding under the covers? Oh, well, you ask why I'm hiding the covers? That's very simple, my dear. Because I have a cold and I need to be all warmed up. Why don't I have some soup? What a good idea. Well, why don't you come here and read me a story? You didn't bring a storybook? What did you bring? You brought a book on making puppets. Who wants to make puppets? I did. I said I did. Oh, well, then come on in, dear. I, of course, would love to make puppets with you. Well, of course, you know what happened. Oh, when Mrs. Goose got closer and closer to the bed, the fox jumped out. He said, "Aha!" Uh-oh, said the goose. Aha! I am going to eat all the cookies, slurp up all the soup, and you will have none. Of course, it's not very nice. I'm a foxy fox. Well, you mean I could share and still be a foxy fox? Oh, you bet. Well, by the way, where's your grandma? She went to get milk. I did let her go out even though she has a cold. I'm a naughty fox. You can still share your cookies with me? Of course you are, because you are a good, good goose. And that's exactly what happened, ladies and gentlemen. The fox and the goose became great friends. And Grandma used to invite them over all the time, and they made puppets together. Sure did. And then you know what else they did? You know the answer. They lived happily ever after. That is our version of Little Red Riding Goose. It's not exactly a scary tale, but if you don't like to share your cookies, it just might very well be. I thank you for coming today to the Mentor Project, for tuning us in on Facebook or YouTube or even ye gads on a podcast. So you can listen to that and then watch us later. Mrs. Goose and I thank you very much. She says thank you for coming too. And Mrs. Goose, would you like to blow everyone a kiss? No, not me. Us. You can kiss me because you're right next to me, but there's folks out there that are listening and watching. If you blow them a kiss, they may not even know that goose kisses are good luck. And then they do go through the wires. So we're going to ask everyone to lift up a hand, and Mrs. Goose is going to give me a kiss on my hand. And then she's going to blow it out to you. This is really cool. So you save these kisses. Maybe put one behind your ear in case you need it for a day that's not such a great day yet. Maybe you could even have a little one right next to your bed when you go to sleep at night. And then when you get up, you can pick up that kiss, put it on your cheek, and know that Mrs. Goose and I are always thinking of you here on Goose Tales, the Mentor Project. Get ready. Ready, Mrs. Goose? Whoosh. And that's one for me. Thanks for coming.